We are live. Good morning, Melissa.
Good morning, Leslie. How are you?
I'm good with some sun, some clouds, better than rain.
Absolutely. We've had so much rain this week. I'm happy to see some sunshine. And I'm happy to see Evan's already here. Good morning, Evan.
Oh, I'm glad he's here because he's soon going to hear his name. I have something I want to start with while people are starting to arrive.
Yeah. Oh,
I have been smiling ever since I read this comment from Christina Massa. Um, it really speaks to everything. So I'm just going to read her words. Quote, love their talks, and they don't just talk, they listen and engage the audience and connect with people with meaningful insights, worth a listen and engagement. Melissa, what do you think?
that just makes me so happy. And thank you, Christina, for that. That's what LinkedIn in general is all about to me, right? It's about speaking with one another, having conversations, making connections. That's why I love this event so much because
Yes.
people really are connecting. They really are having conversations and talking. I know that people have connected and made friendships because of our event, and that makes me super happy.
Exactly. And I think that it's the win. It's exact. She put into words what we were hoping to achieve, that we want engagement, we want connection. And that's what's happening here, not even just between us, which it does, but it's with everyone else in the comments and with each other. So it's
Exactly.
so incredibly special. And then there were two comments I want to highlight that were about today's topic. So the first one is from Reem. A simple thank you can be the spark that keeps someone going. Never underestimate its power.
Yeah. I love that. I think a lot of times we think that to have an impact, we have to do something big and grand. And listen, that's awesome. But
Yes,
sometimes just a simple, exactly like Reem said, a simple thank you, a simple I appreciate you, a simple you had impact. That can
yes,
really change somebody's day, week, month. It's powerful.
exactly. And to take it one step further, I'm really glad Evan is here because his comment was, if you always expect gratitude, it never comes. If you always give gratitude, it has a way of finding you.
Uh, that is the best comment. I love. It's true, but I don't think we think about it often enough,
Yes.
right? So it's the same way, like, and you and I have had conversations around networking, right? If you network because you expect something in return, it doesn't always work out so well. If you
Yes.
network just from a place of, what can I do for someone else? What interesting
Yeah.
person am I going to meet? Somehow it becomes magical. So I
Wow.
just love that. I love that.
I do too. Thank you, Evan. So I know we'll get to the comments in a moment to say hello to everyone. But first, we want to thank everyone for joining us. So whether you're a new viewer, a returning viewer, or you're watching the replay, and we do have a lot of people who watch the replay, this is Let's Talk About It, Careers, Business, and LinkedIn. And today is episode 20, Gratitude or Not in the Workplace. Before we get into the topic, let's introduce ourselves and then we'll also say hello to who's here. So if you would start, Melissa.
Of course, I'm Melissa Cohen. I'm a personal branding and LinkedIn strategist. I am here, as is Leslie, in beautiful New York City, which is actually kind of sunny today. Super excited. And I'm happy to see everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you. And I'm Leslie Nydick. I help people get unstuck and stay unstuck from conflict. So whether it's working one-on-one or in groups, always feel free to DM me and I'll help in any way I can. So I'm always there. So let's see who's in the comments because they are all arriving. I see so many friends. Of course, we have Evan.
And
Hello. Hello from Chicago. We will see, when we go to LinkedIn, we'll see who you are. Yay. Oh,
hi,
so good
Anne.
to see you, Anne. So we have a lot of different states showing up. We have New Jersey, we have Virginia.
I see
Hello,
Texas.
Lisa. Texas is in the house. Good morning, G. Great to see you. Oh, and Meryl is here. Oh, for some reason, I didn't realize you were in New Jersey. Hello, it's great to see you. Nadine is here. Yay. Yes, gratitude is the game changer. I love the comment. And I think we've said, oh, no, I've got a couple more. Hello, Ashley. It's so good to see you here. And 30 minutes is perfect because we will be done before 30 minutes are up.
Yes.
Oh, and welcome, Woody. Hello. So nice to meet you. And Nicole, I'm so glad to see you. So without further ado, we're going to get started. And I'm just going to, we have a question for the audience. So there's research by Gallup that reveals when companies double the number of employees they recognize with gratitude, what percentage improvement in overall work quality is experienced? Melissa, what do you think?
I mean, I think it's going to be pretty high. 70%. I don't know, just making that up, but it sounds like a good number.
Yeah, I love that guess. And let's see. I know we might have a few guesses here, or more people to say hello to, of course. Hello,
Oh,
Arthur.
hi, Arthur.
Welcome. And hello, Alan. And the guesses are coming in slow, so we might have to just do with our guesses,
Might
which
have
is
to just
okay.
spoil it. Yeah, exactly.
I might have to spoil it. Well, I think this is going to surprise you because they showed that there was a 24% improvement in work quality. Yes, I thought that number would at least be reversed of the digits. But there was
Yeah.
another important piece which makes me wonder. They also found that there was a 27% reduction in absenteeism. So when I thought about those two numbers, I wondered if there was a correlation between less people being absent and then that 24% improvement in work quality. So we'd have to dive in much deeper to the questionnaire and the survey and the research that they did, because I really think, my experience, I think we're going to be talking about it, that it's much higher.
And that's an interesting point, and I don't want to go off topic, so I'll stop after this, but I would also be fascinated to see if they could find a correlation between gratitude in the workplace and employee turnover.
Yes. And it's not completely off topic. I could tell you when I didn't have gratitude, I mean, I was part of that turnover. There's just a point if you're just never appreciated, and it doesn't take a lot, like you said at the very beginning. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you don't even get that, why are we staying in that kind of negative environment? That's what it feels like.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're good because the comments are coming in slow. There may be a slight connection issue, which is okay. We'll catch up with your responses in a little bit. We're going to move on to our first question of the real conversation here. So, Melissa, describe an example of when you received gratitude at work in an impactful way, and how did it influence the relationship and also your work?
So I think gratitude can take many forms, right? It can just be as simple as we said in the comments earlier, just a simple thank you. It can also be so one thing that I remember earlier on in my career is I had a boss who really believed in the development of her people. And I think that that's a really powerful way to show gratitude, right? And we didn't have a big L&D budget. We didn't have a lot of resources, but she went out of her way to get extra approval for me to take some leadership coursework because she saw potential in me. And she said, I think you do a great job. I think you have a lot of potential. I'm grateful that you're on the team. I would like to find a way to help you continue to grow. And I'm sure it was not a particularly expensive course. It wasn't, at HBS or, at, you know, any of the big programs, but it was really
Sure.
helpful to me. It really was helpful. It gave me some great ideas. It gave me great insights, great things that I could do with my own team. And it really made me feel appreciated and valued.
I love that because on so many levels, just even that effort, and also because so many managers, whatever the point they are in their career, have never had that.
Yeah.
And everyone's just operating by instinct, which can be great. But as you know, there are things that we need people to point out about what we're doing, and sometimes you need that mirror or someone to just give you an idea like, "Oh, wow, I never thought of that." And the whole thing of managing a team where, each individual might need different guidance from you and figuring out how to maneuver that. So I
Yeah.
just love that there was actually learning that was like her gift of gratitude.
Yeah.
So for me, one of my very first jobs, I was in a location away from my boss and away from my team. And it was about a half-hour subway ride on a good day. So I would leave, and morning is not always my favorite time, but I would get up extra early, and 3 times a week, I would stop at their office on the way to mine. I would just stop in to say hello, chat with the other team members. I'd keep an eye on the watch, go, I gotta go. But what I love is that my boss knew that that was quite an effort. And he made a point of thanking me. Sometimes it was just right then and there. Sometimes it was after the fact. And explaining the impact that it didn't matter that I was far away, that people just still thought of me as the team. And he said, you learned your lesson. You have to be seen sometimes, or people forget that you're there. So just his appreciation just made me just want to keep on doing it, frankly. It
Aw.
reinforced that it was a good thing.
Yes, those compliments, those recognitions, they go a long way, right? They really make us feel valued.
Yes, absolutely. So I do see that comments are coming through. So I'm good. If you saw, oh, we have, so the percentages, people thought like we did, where Arthur, like 100, and said 80% when we were talking about what's the increase in the
Yeah,
quality of work
yeah,
when there is more gratitude. Um, so much higher than the Gallup survey and research showed. So it's interesting that our
mm,
experiences are much different. So thank you for all these numbers. I see Nicole said 80%, Alan said 50. So now I'm going to get to some of the comments. With a
yeah.
more manageable workload, employees are less stressed. Such a great point, Nicole. How about gratitude in the workplace and more productive meetings? Okay, we need to have a whole conversation about
I was
meetings.
gonna say, that's a whole other show.
We need better meetings, better run meetings, and I think that's another example of like leadership and leading a meeting are not don't come naturally necessarily. There's like little tips and skills that and practice that we all have to do.
Yes.
So That might be a future topic, Evan.
I see the wheels turning.
Um, Hi, Albert. Hello. We're so glad to see you. From very, you absolutely win the award for distance. And I'm just gonna, now this may be Albert too, or we might have more than one LinkedIn user. Leaders who genuinely care about their team, those leaders might feel grateful for their team members too.
Yeah,
Gratitude breeds gratitude. That's what we really have to remember.
that's right.
And good morning, Christy from Florida. We're covering a whole bunch of states today. I love it. Oh, and Brilliant Beam Media, we've got you. Thank you. And Philippe is here. Good
Good morning.
morning to you. We appreciate all of you. I hope you know that we feel the gratitude from you.
100%.
And
Hey, Lincoln.
Lincoln, this is what we're feeling it. Like there's new people there's about half and half today. New people we've already known. Hello, Jane. Melissa, do you want to read her comment? That'd be great.
Yeah, employees who feel appreciated, respected, and valued are happier, which shows in their performance. 100%, right? It's like a full circle. When you feel appreciated, you want to do better, right? You want to recognize that appreciation and honor it and continue that sort of circle of gratitude. So I love it.
And I think it's underrated because maybe it is difficult to rate.
Yeah.
You know it when you have high quality, but you don't know always how to like measure it against what you had before.
Yes.
So it's a key point. And then Philippe adds like another layer to this
Yes.
conversation. Emotional intelligence is now a requirement in all job descriptions. And I know his next comment said at his organization.
I
Wow.
love that. That's great.
And we'll get one more comment in and then we'll go to our next topic.
Oh,
Lincoln said, the best leaders I've ever seen have shown me where to look, but never told me what to see. That made me grateful.
I love that.
You're reminding me of a few people I was lucky to work with. It was the same. If I asked a question, I always got like a question back. I was never going to get the answer. They were just going to keep on pushing me to go find the answer. And it helps you grow. So thank you for that, Lincoln. And now we're going to go. I have our next question coming up. And of course, it's a little different with a twist. So, Melissa, when you gave gratitude, what was the result?
Yeah. So, I mean, not surprisingly, when you give gratitude, you just get it back, and you get it back in the way people just want to continue to do well for you, right? So, we would have these very grueling trips every quarter, right? In my corporate life, where we were traveling, we were 8,000 miles from home, we were on planes, we were constantly in, different countries. We were working super hard. We had fun, we would have fun dinners, and we would do fun things, but the overall trips were really exhausting. And I always went out of my way to tell my team, I appreciate the sacrifices that you're making. And, maybe it was a little bit easier for me because I was making them too, right? I'm a mom. I was also missing time with my family, missing time with my daughter. But I always went out of my way to say, like, I know your child or your children or your pets or your mom, they're home and you're away from them. And I really appreciate that you're fully present here on this trip with me and we're doing this work together, right? And first of all, I think that just bonded us closer together as a team, right? When you feel that your leader understands and empathizes with what you're going through, I just think that brings you closer together as a team. And I mean, Gallup might say it only improved at 24%, but I would have to say that, we probably did better work, right? Because
Yes.
they felt appreciated.
Yes. And particularly with travel, um, showing the appreciation of time. I know time, you always know it when you don't get it, for sure. When it's like, wait, I'm not just giving up my day. I'm giving up my nights, my morning, my everything.
Yeah.
So, like you said, it's the pets, it's the kids, it's the friends, it's maybe the dinners or an event you missed at home,
Yes.
and you're there and present, but it's definitely more. You're
Yeah.
taking more of me without me necessarily wanting to.
Yes. Yes.
Really hard. I know, what I experienced was something interesting. I didn't always know the impact, and I think that's true. You don't always immediately know it. And in this particular example, someone contacted me years after we were no longer working together, and he asked me if I knew how I had showed gratitude to him.
Oh,
I was like, I must have, because I felt it. I said, "But no, I don't remember." So, what I did remember, I told him, I remembered his diligence, like, with his work, his integrity, how so many of my colleagues would constantly comment on his kindness, and I said, "That's what I remember." And then when his work was part of a contract. So when it ended, this is the part where he said, I showed the gratitude. I went around and I tried to find other departments who could hire him. And he told me, although I wasn't successful, that kindness and gratitude that he really felt encouraged him. And
mm,
he said he never had the confidence to go out and get another job. He said, but just a few days later, he found another job. And when I say several years, it really was a couple of decades. He retired
wow.
from that same job. He stayed
Wow.
with that job for 20 years and then retired. And now the best part is we're in touch, like, more on a regular basis. So I love that he reached out to me and showed me gratitude, and it now further connected us, which
And
was
just
really
think about
special.
what an impact you had 20 years later. He's telling you how much he appreciated. That's huge impact, right? 20 years. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And that he found me. I just love that he was able to find me. So we definitely have some comments that I want to look at, and more people came, which I think some of it is slightly delayed, and that's why we
Yes.
didn't say hello to everyone.
Yes.
So we will. Hello, Sean. We're so glad you're here. And we've got to read this. Gratitude shifts your attitude and sets your altitude.
I
Okay,
love
we're
that.
quoting you on that. That's going to be in a follow-up comment to this post
Yes.
for sure. I love that. And Anne said, extending gratitude demonstrates you care. When you feel your efforts matter, you want to do more for that person. I
Yes.
think there's a lot to say about we want to matter. And I just know that even as simple as you said, just saying thank you earlier, Melissa,
Yeah.
even just saying hello to someone with their name
Yes.
and
Yes.
asking them, oh, did I say it the way you want me to say it? You don't remember every time, but just checking in with that. It's just like saying, hello, Melissa, in the hallway. And maybe it's someone that you don't really know, and maybe they're like, you haven't even had direct conversations. There's just, I guess it's that mix of kindness and gratitude.
Yeah, it's making people feel that you see them, right? If you pass them in the hall, say hello. To your point, remember their name. Hopefully get their name right. That's my pet peeve. Um, make
Yes.
people feel seen, right?
And it's particularly challenging in a live stream where we can't have the person talk back to tell us how to pronounce their name. So hopefully we're pronouncing everyone's names correctly. Arthur, who said, the energy you put
Yes.
out into the world is the energy you get back. And sometimes it comes much later, and that's okay too. Fully present. Now, that's one of the most underrated results from gratitude. Absolutely. Thank you. Where I think it's Albert, but it could be another LinkedIn user, which of course we'll know when we get into the comments after the show.
Yes.
And here's our friend
Yes.
Evan. You want to read this, Melissa?
Yeah, sure. Our company sends shout out emails that acknowledge jobs well done. I accept gratitude by any means possible. So my last corporate employer, they did the same thing. They had a fun acronym for them, which of course I can't remember, but it's the easiest way to acknowledge someone. And what I loved is, so Leslie, if you and I worked together at this company and I did one of these shout out emails to you, you would receive it, but so would your boss. So your boss would
Like it.
know that I thought you did something amazing and that I was
I
thanking you
like.
for it. Yeah.
You know how I know it matters because lately I've been trying to clean out some files I have, and I have just like that one file of just like all little notes from different people. I
Yes.
have a note from my first job where someone, took that time and wrote and this was before email, everybody. So they had to type the letter, get it printed out, fix the corrections,
Yes.
and they took the time to write a note to my boss and send a copy to me. And
Oh,
obviously it meant something because I've saved it and it's all wrinkled and everything. And it does. It just
it
take
does.
those moments. And it doesn't have to be the long letter. It can be the short. I just want to say thank you. And
Yes.
maybe they need to hear it like with that emphasis.
Yes. Yes. It makes a world of difference.
And we still have new people chiming in, more people. Hello, Ian, who's been here before with us, or I know we're connected. So
Yes.
thank you for coming. And Shabazz is here. Thank you. And then here, you want to read G's comment?
People sharing gratitude for us is always special, but to have that so many years later so many years after the fact, I just made up my own word, is a big wow, Leslie. I could
Yeah,
not agree more. I'm still blown away by 20 years. That's amazing.
yeah. It really, there's no question that it stood out. And now is like the reason why we're completely connected.
Oh,
It reconnected us because maybe we always were, and maybe it was at a time in our lives that you just you like people, but then when you leave to go to a different workplace, it's just
yes.
hard to stay in touch at times.
Yes.
So, but stay in touch because some of my dearest friends now are people I worked with in the
Yeah.
past. They were the people who maybe I met in the coffee room all the time, or they sat near me, even though our work didn't necessarily, wasn't together. There's just, you spend a lot of hours at work. So
You
there's a
do.
chance for great relationships.
That's right. That's right.
So we're getting to that point, but we have a
Oh
few
my.
more comments. I think we could, because more people are coming. Now, I'm going to take a chance. Joao, but I may be saying it wrong. So I'm going to find out how to pronounce your name. Good morning. We're
Good
so glad
morning.
you're here. And we have more people saying hello to each other, which we love. So it's that time.
Oh my
And
goodness.
we told everyone 30 minutes. So I just want to say this monthly event is all about conversations between Melissa and me, and most importantly, with you. We're going to keep the conversations and the networking going in the comments later on today because we do have an event we have to go to right after this. And guess what? It's about gratitude. Um,
The double feature.
so we hope you will join us again in a few weeks on June 20th. Once we create the event, we'll send you all invitations. But before we sign off, Melissa, please share closing thought.
I mean, I just love that this episode was about gratitude. And Leslie, I am grateful for you for all the friendship and support that you show to me on a daily basis. I'm grateful that we get to do this every month. And I am so grateful to everybody that showed up today and contributed to the conversation. And as Leslie said, later on today, we will be in the comments continuing the conversation. I'm going to steal Leslie's tip and remind you all to go to that networking tab on the event and connect with one another if you're not connected already.
Oh, thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye, everyone.